Vanilla chocolate, strawberry, banana, and orange old-fashioned milkshakes. So thick, you could probably make a sidewalk out of it, ladies and gentlemen. It's that good. All right, now listen, amongst the brats that will be coming back soon to the Brighton Hot Dog Shop, the crowds will be coming back in a big way. Drive-thrus Friday night, about 5 o'clock. They'll be bumper to bumper. And yes, inside after the game around 10:30, as soon as the final whistle blows. It's a tradition. The Papa family started it. No one has even come close. And it is the place to be to celebrate the return of high school football. And they are here either in Vanport or any of their other locations throughout the area. So please stop in and say cheers to the 2017 high school football season. And of course, college football and professional football as well. And nothing better than taking home about 6 chili dogs, kicking back with some giant fries and a delicious drink, and enjoying the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they got Carolina this week. And then, of course, it's the season opener against Cleveland. Before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about the Steelers and just some of my thoughts as far as their last preseason game, which they lost 19-15 to the Colts, but there were some good things. And a guy who's had everything from a bone bruise to a concussion, he got a hit to the knee in this game against the Colts, but finally the second rounder out of USC, Juju Smith, 31 yards and a pretty spectacular one late in the game as well. I like him as a slot receiver. I think he's got a bright future. But man, the thing that really concerns me, you start thinking about preseason and some of these players who need to show their talent as far as, being a second or third rounder like Cam Sutton, who got in the game, third round pick, that they really risk injury before they even get to the season. And it's not so much about you being a fan, just someone that you care about as a young man who you want to at least see him have a chance to cash in on a pro career. And sometimes they get cut short. This guy has dodged a lot of what could have been serious injuries, and he seems to be doing okay.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it seems like he's been a little snake bit since he arrived in Pittsburgh, as far as, since they've started contact drills and stuff. But he did show some flashes the other night. Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of what he's going to be capable of. But, it's really hard to say what to think of the preseason. I think, the next CBA, I think the players' union is really going to want to try and
back off.
Yeah, I think so, because 4 games is that's a lot. And you, like I say, you are taking a big chance. You look at New England with Julian Edelman, who's gone for the season, just from a preseason game. I mean, obviously they can reload, but you hate to see that happen to anybody. And so there's just that's happening a lot throughout the NFL. And I think you're going to see that they're going to cut back on the preseason games. I know the veterans really don't like the camp atmosphere and don't like the preseason as it is. So I think they're going to try to find a way to still, be able to get their practice in, get the work in, find out what these kids can do. But I don't think they're going to play the 4 games. I don't think they should either.
One thing we learned, Joshua Dobbs may be very smart aeronautical engineer, and he may be involved in landing that first man on Mars, but he has not landed the backup job as far as the Steelers. Landry Jones stepped up. So now he will be the backup.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think a lot of people were a little worried about his rib injury, but I think everything's fine. I think he's going to be fine just being the backup. Ben is going to be Ben. But yeah, I feel much better with Landry Jones as the backup than I do Josh Dobbs.
Ross Cockrell, Artie Burns, Corey Sensenbaugh, Brian Davis, Brandon Dixon, and Cam Sutton, the new guy I just mentioned. 6 defensive backs. They call it a sub-dime. 5 defensive backs, whatever the look. These are the guys you're going to be looking at. And right now, you've got a battle going on between Cockrell and Sensenbaugh to see who's going to play on the other side opposite of Artie Burns. I've talked a lot about the offense, and everybody knows Ben. They know Le'Veon Bell, Artie. Of course, Antonio Brown. We've talked about the line from Pouncey being back on down, and, Alejandro Villanueva being the left tackle. But I want to focus on the defense. We'll talk a little bit about Ryan Shazier, who had an interception, the 4th of the preseason for the Steelers, because he's going to be the go-to guy as far as linebackers are concerned. We talked about T.J. Watt, the young man out of Wisconsin, hail the Badgers. But what about these defensive backs? We've had so many good ones for so long, and they're no longer there. And these are kind of like, who's that person? What is their name? So I'm waiting for the next great one. Do you see that possibility in any of the guys that I mentioned?
That's the biggest question mark with the Steelers, is that defensive backfield. It's been that way the last couple of years. You saw what Tom Brady did to them last year in the AFC Championship game. They really need to address that, but how they can do that at this point, I think Sensenbaugh is going to beat out Cockrell. I mean, he'll be a good guy to come off the bench and stuff, but Yeah, they may have to look at the waiver wire, see who some of these other teams cut too. That's going to be the big thing with a lot of the teams. Some of these guys might not be good enough to make another team. They get cut. Steelers pick them up, have a chance to do that. So, but they do need to address the defensive backfield, I think.
What about James Conner? Everybody's waiting Le'Veon Bell. He tweeted to a fan last week, September 1st. I'm starting to think maybe he's got the right idea.
Yeah.
He doesn't get the bruises. He comes
Right.
back. He's fresh. And he's obviously cashed in on a big franchise tag paycheck this year. But James Conner, 4 carries, 26 yards. But the thing that intrigued me, even though they didn't punt, meaning Indianapolis in the first half, he was on the punt team, return team, if need be, but he was on the kickoff return team. He's often said, look, special teams, I'll find my way, whatever I have to do. I could see some real possibilities there for him.
Oh, yeah, because when he was recruited at Pitt, he was recruited both as offense and defense. And when he was a freshman, he played defensive end for the Panthers. They put him in the backfield, but he also did some two-way playing. So making contact and actually delivering a hit, I don't think that's not out of the realm of possibility for him. And after his first game last week, Coach Tomlin kind of called him out and said, it's your position on this team. You need to contribute on special teams as well, not just to be the backup to Lev Bell. You've got to make your mark on special teams. And so I think that's not going to be a problem for James Conner at all.
Let's finish up by talking about number 7. Now, obviously, weekly show 93.7 The Fan, the great Ben Roethlisberger. He's matured so much, and he's always been articulate, always been a student of the game. But not that the passion isn't there, because it is. But I really sense this guy. I think being a father has a lot to do with it, having a wife and the whole family theme. I think he's looking at the big picture outside of football, and he's doing what he has to do, but it's almost like you can see the wheels spinning about life after football. And it's hard to believe, but he's been around long enough that it's time to start thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he is starting to think about the future. And you mentioned how much he's grown up and matured, and I mean, that's when you think about when he first started, and obviously he had some issues early on, but immature issues. But there's a person who just I think marriage has really
Anchored him.
Yes, it has. I mean, he's changed 180 degrees with his teammates. I know early on, there were a lot of players that talked off the record to different reporters who, they had issues with Ben. The immaturity part of him and stuff. And now, not anymore. He is the leader of the Steelers for sure. He's matured. He's grown up. But yeah, I do think that we are nearing the end too. So,
do you think anybody will ever be able to run the no huddle like him? He's so good at that, and that's one of the things they do. And they said they did a little, but they didn't want to show the Colts too much because of the upcoming season. But that's really been a key to their success, and it's going to be hard to find someone to be able to do that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you look at the starting quarterbacks around the NFL, there's maybe 10 really good franchise quarterbacks, Ben being one. So, bringing in somebody else, after Ben goes, that's going to have that ability to, especially in the no huddle, that's going to be tough. So, they're going to need to address that either via free agency or via the draft. Next year's draft class is going to have
good players.
4 great quarterbacks that are going to come in next year. So, they're going to have to make some arrangements to try to, situate themselves to get one of those 4. I think one of those 4 could really be groomed over the next few years to come in.
Not that he's looking for a compliment, nor he'll probably not ever see this, but I have to say about Mike Tomlin, who I've met before many years ago, obviously on and off at times, but a lot of people would be happy with what he's done in 10 years for an entire coaching lifetime.
Oh yeah,
it has been a great run for him, hasn't it?
It has, absolutely. He's definitely he is the second best coach in the NFL. Obviously, Bill Belichick is the best one, but we are very fortunate to have Coach Tomlin. And it's funny. I always tell people that I used to live in Hampton, Virginia, and I actually saw him play high school football down there. I wasn't covering games. I was a high school football nerd. So I went to when I was in the service down there, I went to different games down there, and he was a high school football star down in Hampton, Virginia, and I went to and I saw him play down there. So it's kind of amazing to see him as the coach. And then last year, I covered his son playing for North Catholic. So yeah, we are very fortunate to have him, and he's definitely become a Pittsburgher. So.
It's a small world after all.
It is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Equals of the Beaver Allegheny County Times. Good night from the Brighton Hot Dog Shop. Cheers.